You saw, or probably heard just some of the polls then. I've got another one to show you. Sporting Bet has McBain at 170, Cot Voice at 240, Trevor Hicks at $15. So are the punters on the money?
Well, good morning. The punters never really get it wrong here in Eden-Monaro. That's why it's been the bellwether seat for so long. We're a very in-tuned electorate, close to the nation's capital. Politics is always in the air, and in my mind, the punters, the voters, they're in tune with what the issues of the day are, and parts of this electorate ravaged by the summer fires and now COVID. So I think those polls are probably close to the mark.
OK, so you're expecting a Labor win then?
Well, you never say never. Last year, of course, Scott Morrison wasn't meant to win the election, and he did it quite easily. The truth is there's 14 candidates in the field, and when there's 14 candidates in the field, you touched on this earlier, it's where the preferences flow. Besides predominantly the National Party preference flow going to the Liberals, everyone else is preferencing the Labor candidate, Christian McBain. And look, in one way, this is going to go against history, over 100 years of history to win the seat. But look, I'm not writing off the Liberals yet. My view is that it's always been a bellwether seat. They know down here that you get stuff done when you've got someone in government, and 2 years out from the general election, they might experiment with that.
Have you been asking your supporters to preference Labor over the Liberals?
Yeah, that article yesterday sort of indicated that, and I made it clear yesterday on Ray Hadley's show. I made it clear on camera that no, that's not the case. I've been on the campaign at Hastings supporting Trevor Hicks. I've been telling people to vote one Trevor Hicks, National Party. Simple as that. Our How to Vote card has the Liberal Party second, and at the end of the day, people will preference the way they choose to preference. And I know there's lots of speculation because I was friends and am friends with Mike Kelly. We've built a strong friendship. Just because we come from two different political parties, it doesn't mean in politics you can't make friends across the political aisle. I've done that, and that in itself caused a lot of speculation.
The theory goes, though, that you have been doing that because if Labor does win, then that basically paves the way for you to challenge at the next federal election. So is there any truth to that?
Look, again, I was asked a question and the article quoted my comments where I have said, like most politicians would say, I don't rule anything in or out. That's 2 years away. Goodness knows where I'd be in my political career at that point. I'm focused on being Deputy Premier of New South Wales, and that is all I've said. That in itself started a range of views and opinions, and that I'm thinking about contesting 2022. I'm not ruling it out.
Well, but it is true. It is true, though, that a Labor win does open the door for you, right, at the next federal election.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the Liberal Party win the seat or the Nationals win the seat, we don't, we won't have a three-corner contest. We just don't have three-corner contest against a sitting coalition member of Parliament, and that has always been the rule, and that's a rule that we will stick to. And if Labor wins and Christian McBain wins, then that makes it easier for the Liberals or the Nationals to contest. But again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, Christian McBain is someone I've also built a friendship with as the Mayor of Bega, someone that was prominent in the bushfire recovery, and she's been a great local mayor down the southeast, and as the Minister for Regional New South Wales, I've done a lot with her. So again, I respect people that fight for their community, and that all should determine who puts their hand up and why you run in politics.
But if it opens the door for you, you want a shot at federal politics, right?
No. Look, I had my chance this time.
Come on, John, you want to go again, don't you?
Not to run. I said that publicly. No, look, I didn't have the fight in me this time, and I don't know if I've got the fight next time. And the truth is, after 10 years in politics, you've got to make a decision where you and what you can contribute. I'm 48 years of age. There's probably another career post politics. So these are the decisions I'll make with my family in the next few years, and we'll see how we go.
But why not say you're keen? There's nothing wrong with that. Why not say you're keen to run in the federal seat of Eden-Monaro at the next federal election?
Hey, Peter, you know I'm a straight shooter. I call it as I see it, and that's why I've said I'm not ruling it out. And that's the best I'm going to say, because at the same time, I don't know what it looks like in 2 years' time. I've got a 4.5-year-old at home who misses Dad. Hates seeing Dad jumping on a plane, and that was a big part of the reason I didn't run this time.
Do you regret stepping aside?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't regret it at all. And, I'd say that today if I felt any regret, but I don't. I feel very comfortable and at peace with my decision. I've enjoyed the campaign trail, assisting Trevor Hicks and being on the ground, talking to my community. But when you're not in the race, there's less pressure. So I've enjoyed the campaign as an outsider rather than someone with the focus on me. And it's been really good to talk to this community during a really tough period of COVID.
Do you think you would have beaten Kristy McBain?
Look, as I said earlier, you're going against 100 years of history to win this seat while in government. And as I said, a very smart seat, a lot of smart voters down here. And Kristy is, like I said, a very, very good candidate. Okay. Very well liked down the southeast of this electorate.
Well, you know what's
and then,
interesting?
Of course,
sorry, John, you know what's interesting is the fact that Labor has had so many problems, right? There's been scandal upon scandal that has engulfed the Labor Party in recent times. Yet, and Scott Morrison has been surging in the polls, yet Labor is ahead in these polls at the moment. So how are you reading into that? Is the coalition and the Liberal Party a bit on the nose at the moment from what you can tell?
No, not at all. I mean, remember when I won my seat in 2008, I won it with 750 votes. At the next election of 2015 at the state level, there was a 9% swing against the government, the bad government. But I had a 0.5% swing to me. In the last election, I've gone to about almost a 12% margin. And the truth is, down here they back the candidate or the local member who works hard for them. And that's why Mike Kelly held the seat against 70 years worth of history. Mike Kelly held it out of government. Won it off Peter Hendy, the last Liberal member, and he did it twice. So the truth down here, people back good people, candidates that can actually prosecute the case, a strong narrative about the region, knowledge and a connection. And that's probably why Kristy McBain is doing very, very well. Yeah, and even in my own case, I know people vote for John Barilaro versus the party that I actually lead, the National Party, because who we are. And that's why I think we're such a bellwether seat.
Are you going to vote for Kristy?
Mate, I'm voting one Trevor Hicks, and I'm encouraging all your viewers to vote one Trevor Hicks.
and then?
How to vote card will preference the Liberal Party. Well, what happens in the privacy of the ballot box is for all Australians to enjoy. And as I said, I back people, mate, for parties.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, John, I just got a quick one. How concerned are you about this? This gentleman who's jumped on a plane, I think it was. I can't remember now. He's come from Melbourne. He's come to Sydney. And then he's worked in this Woolworths, and now 50 people are in isolation. You must have great concerns over that at the moment.
Yeah, we do, and this is the problem. And we've been worried about that border. We've been trusting that Victoria would do the right thing with its quarantine, with it's the way it's measuring and managing the crisis down there. 77 cases yesterday. I think all of them were community transmission. That is a problem. And then to see someone go into quarantine, test positive, and after 10 days release on a plane and then into Sydney, that's where the threat for New South Wales is. And we'll have to give this greater consideration. I know the Health Minister, the Premier, myself, and other members of the government will keep monitoring, but fingers crossed it hasn't blown out to be anything more than the individual. But I tell you what, that's the concern we all have.
Would you ever consider shutting the border with Victoria?
We've been strong about this because we've got to rebuild the economy, Pete. I mean, we've got 271,000 people out of work. Unemployment levels are probably double digit if you take JobKeeper out of the equation. And there are businesses that are shutting their doors. People are hurting. So we've really got an opportunity here to try and minimise that result. But, what we'll do is monitor. As I said, we've got the health system in place to pick up any of the slack when it comes to any spike in New South Wales. Let's stick to our plan. If there's anything abnormal outside of that, then, of course, we'd have to consider further action.
Okay. John Barilaro, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate that, and I look forward to watching you join Kieran Gilbert and the panel for tomorrow night's coverage of the Eden-Monaro by-election. Thanks for your time, John. We'll talk to you soon.